often heard sales like compared to dating.
Both, everybody. We're all just having fun making money, so it's good.
You kind of have to get used to that rejection
People like me and Carney, though, we don't get rejected.
ever.
My whole entire goal is to create.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode number 60 of the Roofer2Roofer show. My name is Allie, the head of partnerships over at Proline, and today on our panel we have Scott, Carney, and John, all ready to answer your questions whenever you think of them. So please feel free to use that Q&A box and drop them in as you think of them. So we'll kind of run through my list here, and it's okay if the question that you have isn't related to the topic. They're flexible and willing to kind of jump around. So here we go. What are the keys to great proposals that close jobs?
Yeah, I think we probably have some different takes on this because I know I've seen John's and they're significantly different than mine. But for me, I like pretty, but I like simple. I try to keep my hero pages, as a lot of people call them, condensed to where there's not a ton of fluff. It's more what I'm presenting is things that are either educational to the customer or straight to the point and getting them a price. So I want it to look nice and be really professional looking, but I don't like as much fluff in there and as much sales pages, I guess. So we just want to get them to understand what we're selling and get them a price of what it is that they're buying.
Makes sense to me.
So I'll just add into that. Your pages need to have purpose, right? It needs to lead into your story, and you need to have, it needs to guide you down the path that you're trying to take customers down. So if you're going for education, great. If you're going for the ADT method where you're scaring the heck out of people and just making them buy out of fear, I mean, but it all needs to kind of build up to the story that you're trying to lead them down, and they all need to be purposeful. Having a bright, pretty page and a presentation isn't going to do anything if there's no reasoning behind having it in there. So I mean, that's all that I would really add into that. But my proposals definitely look way better than Scott's. So just
What about yours, Barney? Are yours better than John's, or where do you?
Mine are better than all theirs. So no, I agree with both these gentlemen. I would imagine, I don't know what Scott's proposals look like. I would imagine mine are probably a little bit more lengthy than his. How many pages are yours? Do you know, Scott?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Between 6 and 8 is where we try to keep it.
Yeah, I'm almost probably double that, honestly. Now every page has a purpose. To John's point, though, like we're not just putting useless information out there. But my whole philosophy, we call it a proposal experience, and my whole philosophy is to try and equip that customer with every single thing that they could possibly need answered to without overwhelming them and creating an environment where they just stagnate and they don't make a decision because there's paralysis through analysis. So we want to make sure that they're meaningful. But my whole goal with that proposal experience is to create it in a way that whether there's a warm body in front of that customer or not, they feel like they have enough information to make a buying decision. So that's just one of the big things that we focused on. I don't know that it's quite double, Scott, but I definitely have at least 10 to 12 pages on our proposals. Everything from an integrated map to videos to some additional literature, some of the vendors and partners that we have. So I would imagine all of ours on this call are pretty similar, but we try to make it a proposal experience more than just a free quote.
Yeah. And to be clear, are you guys putting in like personal information like about yourself or about your brand, or is it just kind of cut and dry proposal?
No, it's got to be, you've got to have all the details in there. And really, to be clear, you got to use some sort of software to create this. This is not a pen and paper, me and Carney ain't writing 8 to 16 pages worth of handwritten notes to give you a proposal. You know, you got to use a tool, some sort of software to help write these. Obviously, I think we all on this call are utilizing Proline and their quotation tool, which is fantastic. But yeah, this is elevated from, you know, that entry level handwritten quotes or Excel sheets for your quotes. This is kind of, you know, stepping up your game and getting a little bit more professional with what you're presenting.
Absolutely. I love that. Sweet. Okay. And do you guys let your sales reps use their personal phones?
I want them to. I don't want to pay for another cell phone bill. That's the beauty of Proline. I canceled all my cell phone bills and just now they just have one phone. So everybody talks about pricing of CRMs, which or all tech, right? All tech can be pricey and it costs money and it's overhead. But when you factor in, you know, I'm cutting $50-$60 a month of a T-Mobile bill per employee, and I don't have to own a $1,000 iPhone or what, I don't even know what they cost anymore. I'd hate to think, probably a few grand. I don't have to be responsible to own those phones anymore. They're just responsible to own their own phone and download a free app. And, you know, for a couple, you know, what, $20-$30 extra a month, they have it. So yeah, no company phones here.
You got a lot more control and visibility with the Proline system as well. We can listen to we can see all the activity. We can listen to the recordings, the transcripts. We can make notes in there. You can use it as a coaching tool. So to Scott's point, all our guys have their own personal cell phones. There's like 2 or 3 people internally that we may pay for their phone just because they're in like an executive type role or a leadership type role. But other than that, they got all their own cell phones, and Proline allows us to basically give them a work phone where they can fragment their personal life from work and business.
Here's how roofers make it home for dinner every single night without losing a single sale, even when they're one-man shows. Automate your communication with Proline, the only communication-first CRM for roofers. Because when you fix your communication, you'll sell more jobs. Your weekends will smell more like sunscreen and backyard barbecues than that crappy gas station coffee. And all you got to do is ask these roofers.
Where we had about 200% growth, and I attribute that to incorporating Proline.
But just with one automation, I was able to get 25 Google reviews.
It's been absolutely insane how quickly we were able to grow. Now, Proline's not going to win the beauty pageant, but it will save your Saturday. Now, back to the show.
Love that. What about you, John?
Just personal phones. I don't really see the point in carrying around more than one phone. Especially whenever you have a full-fledged, you know, mobile number built right into Proline that gives you the transparency you'd kind of be looking for as far as, you know, how often are they doing follow-ups? How often are they actually like picking up the phone and calling these guys? How quickly are they responding to text messages? Or are they just relying on the automations that are built out? And I just got a text from Scott saying that I'm a blurry mess. Dude, I've been trying to figure it out. I don't know what the heck's going on here. This thing is all screwed up. But
That's okay. The message is the same, even if it's a little blurry.
But
Well,
yeah,
Yep, Carney?
Yeah, I'm gonna take your job, Allie. I want to ask these guys a question. Do you mind?
Not at all.
Scott, John, what are your guys' opinions? Are you guys getting your sales team to use laptops or iPads?
Oh man, tablets all the way, but be careful. I say that carefully. We went, I don't know that it's technically a tablet. It's like a hybrid. The Microsoft Surface Pros, the new ones are 5G enabled. And then we did go with a few Chromebooks too, because T-Mobile actually gives them to you for free when you add the line. So instead of buying the Microsoft Surfaces, T-Mobile sells Chromebooks, which are 5G enabled mini laptops. I like them. Really, it's just one reason. So if you do a DIY measure for any kind of measurement report, you actually have a mouse. You can use that, and you can do it on the job site without a hotspot or anything. So on like a traditional tablet, it's almost impossible to do an accurate DIY report. But on a laptop that's not 5G enabled, it's a complete pain in the butt, because then you need hotspot or something to get that internet. And a lot of times, we're modifying or measuring the job on site or in the truck. My guys pull in parking lots all the time to prepare their next quote or whatever. So yeah, the Chromebooks or the new Surfaces.
Yeah, that sounds sweet. What about you, John? Tablets, laptops?
So we're primarily all laptops. And like, I did have one of my reps that was using an iPad for the longest time, and the app didn't work quite as well as it should on like an iPad, I guess. But so we ended up having to launch it in like a browser, and it was like a full featured version of our CRM at that point. But you just have a lot more flexibility on an actual like full-fledged laptop that just gets a little harder and more difficult to kind of get things done quickly versus a laptop. I'm not saying that you can't use one. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer to this. But for us, I mean, laptops just seem to be the way to kind of get things done right. But I actually use a Surface from time to time. I actually hate it. I wish I wouldn't have bought it, because I was going from like a MacBook to that, but they look so darn cool and they look like super flexible. I was like, man, this might be perfect. And I do like that they have touchscreen, which MacBooks don't, but yeah, it didn't work out for me, unfortunately.
You feel catfished is what I'm hearing. Wow. Okay. All right, guys. Any questions you have, feel free to drop them in that Q&A. It's been a little quiet over there, but we're going to keep rolling along here. Do you guys use sales scripts for your sales team?
For training or for them to use while they're like at a house?
Either.
We use scripts for training purposes. I'm not a huge fan of scripts because like in my opinion, I think every single one of us on this call, audience included, are a byproduct of the environment that they're around. So we all pick up little things that I've stolen stuff from John and Scott already that like I use. And they don't even know it. So like we're all a byproduct of the different people and personalities and individuals that we meet. And I feel like scripts are a way for us to get information in a way that we would communicate with a customer over to our team and then allow them to put their own unique twist on it. That way it sounds natural coming out of their mouth. If I gave you a script, Allie, and you read it verbatim, every single one of us would know that you're reading a script. So it for me, what it does is it allows people to give them a format and a flow that is consistent with our messaging and what we want to be translated to the customer. But then they got to put their own twist on it. It's got to sound unique coming out of their mouth, because if it doesn't, it's going to be very, very, very uncomfortable.
I agree 100%. Everybody sells different. You got to have something for training and to kind of we want to teach the same experience, but everybody presents it in a different way. So to train the same experience, we do have to use some sort of scripting for everybody to kind of, have the same baseline to start with. But nobody should take that script to the front door. Everybody should go to the front door with their own, conversation, like, because that's what selling is. It's just conversation. It's just understanding their issue and trying to figure out how you can solve it. So, yeah, I agree 100%.
I kind of have a differing viewpoint. I mean, I think your sales script should be good enough that you can give them the flexibility to kind of wean off of that and do their own thing, but not until they get it like 100% the way you want it to be delivered. And it should work so darn well that they're not going to want to change to what they want to do at the end of the day.
I'd be curious to know what you guys, how would you describe your like sales process, maybe in 3 words, each of you?
Best damn experience.
For who? For you or for the customer?
Both. Everybody. We're all just having fun making money, so it's good.
So I would say
right now.
completely organized chaos.
Elaborate on that a little bit, Scott.
We're just freaking running and gunning, man. It's just, like we train and then I give them the keys. I don't micromanage, and I don't know if our success is due to the training that we provide or that we've come up with, or the strategies or the processes. I don't really pinpoint, but at the same time, like, all my guys do it differently, and all of my guys are very successful on their own. So, and they all have their own way of selling, of presenting. We have a baseline of what we expect on certain things, but then once I'm confident that they can have high integrity, treat people great. That's the number one rule is integrity. I kind of give them the keys. So yeah, I mean, it's I sometimes I look at text messages every once in a while. I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing? And then I have to call them out. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I don't know what you were saying there, but that was stupid. So to reel that back in, but it doesn't happen very often. Maybe it's just good people. That's what a guy that I idolized my whole life that I worked for when I was 16 years old. It's my best friend's grandfather. You always asked him, and he was extremely successful. I always asked him, Robert, how did you get here? And his answer was always the same. It was always good people. There was nothing else. So maybe it's simply just that. I don't know.
It very well could be. Very well could be. All right, John, you've had plenty of time. I'm sure now you have your 3 word.
Right, I got that third one now. We are ready. We are cooking with gas now.
Good.
But I would say thorough, educational, and meaningful. That's just like how every single one of these podcasts are, right, Allie?
Of course.
I mean, they get so much out of like. I just got a meaningful text from Scott just a moment ago that said that somehow I just got uglier. Now changed my laptop.
And you just don't get that kind of like uplifting, note from just anyone. So that's beautiful.
If I wanted you to share it, I would have said it on here, John.
Yeah, good point.
All right, I'll keep those to myself from now on.
Private group chat.
That's it.
Well, it looks like we do have some questions coming in here. Continuing along the lines of scripts being offered, do you do ride-alongs with new employees or all office training? Is there a different training for someone with no sales experience versus somebody with sales experience?
Absolutely do ride-alongs. Like, I don't even just do ride-alongs. Everybody that I bring in. So the last new guy that was truly new to sales, new to everything, I made him ride along with every single sales rep. Like, so which these are all seasoned guys at this time, right? Like, the new guy was the new guy. Everybody else was well seasoned, and he spent time with all of them. A couple of them, I made him spend 2 weeks with each guy. So he spent 2 weeks with 2 of the guys, and then the other guys he spent a week with. So it was a significant amount of time. Again, 100% green. And yes, for me, I do treat it differently. Guys that have no sales experience, there's a confidence thing that has to be made. It's not really the training at that point. It's the confidence. And people with previous sales experience have confidence that the others don't, because they're used to going and having that awkward conversation, whether it's in somebody's home or in a retail store or wherever that is. They're already accustomed to that. To me, that's probably half the battle, is just building the confidence to go have those talks with complete strangers at their home. You're the away team. You're showing up to their house to talk. So yeah, for me it's different, but at the same time, it's just less time in the ride along to get you comfortable and confident in the conversation.
Yeah. I've often heard sales like compared to dating, where like you kind of have to get used to that rejection and get used to putting yourself out there and maybe not having the result that you want, but just kind of staying on top of it and staying motivated. So I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
People like me and Carney, though, we don't get rejected.
Ever. That's never happened before. So
I'm a married man. I just
Boom.
get it done, right?
love that. Love that for you guys. We do have another question in. Do you have documented standard operating procedures or SOP manuals for all roofing operations?
I would say we're 90% of the way there, but we have the super important stuff documented in SOPs. Should 100% of it be? Yeah. I'm not there yet. I'm human. But how about you guys?
You'll probably have it done by the end of the day though, right?
Get out of here, Allie. You're crazy.
SOPs for me are kind of like a buzzword, and they've been heavily talked about for like the last 5 years for whatever reason. They're incredibly important, especially if you're a growing organization and you have individuals that are coming and going, and you have leadership changes and stuff like that. You want to make sure that you're able to hand something off and somebody be able to, in a sense, pick up where the other person left off. But I do think that a lot of people put too much effort and energy into SOPs, where like just get your butt to work. Like go to work, figure it out, learn through trial and error. Eventually you'll develop a system and a process. And for me, SOPs are important, but what's more important for me is building a system and a process that the human element is interchangeable and it functions even if a piece is missing. Super, super huge for me. So like when we're talking about AI and technology and automations, my whole entire goal is to create an experience, whether it's production or a sales cycle or a lead that enters our system, a way to generate new business and automate it with as little human intrusion as possible. That way it's very repeatable and very predictable. So I put a lot more energy into creating a bulletproof system than I do SOPs, even though SOPs are very, very important. But I do believe that they're more of a buzzword than anything at this point in time.
Totally fair.
Listen, I'll throw one last thing in there. You can do exactly what if you're wanting to do that. It does not take long with ChatGPT. Just start typing what the sales process looks like, or what the production process looks like. Or I did it for marketing just the other day because I brought in an in-house marketing guy started today, and I knew that was one thing I didn't have. Now, we don't, this is not our Bible. And I'm just like Carney. This is not the Bible we follow. This is simply something I hand them. And then when they like completely ignore a big part of the process, then I'm like, hey, you remember that thing we went through the one time and you were supposed to keep a hold of it to understand, do X, Y, and Z. You need to start doing X, Y, and Z. So it's more or less just something to reflect back on if I notice guys kind of getting off track, or, or even seeing them struggle. Hey, are you doing this, this, and this? Well, I'm not doing these two. Okay, we'll start doing those two. That'll help. So that's where we utilize it.
Absolutely.
I did all of it in like 3 days last winter. Everything that we do, I did it. And I'm not talking 8-hour days, probably like 2 hours a day. So it does not take that long if you just sit down and type it out.
So you're saying John has no excuse? That's
Not a single excuse.
That's what I'm hearing too. That's what I'm hearing too. I'm also curious to know, like, your peach and your pit of your business. What is your absolute favorite thing about your business, and maybe the part that you dread doing or hate most?
I love making money.
That's your peach?
No, honestly, I just did a parade. So we did my local parade Saturday. I've never been in the parades, but we did it Saturday. And I realized again, it was nice because I do not get out in the field hardly ever. I don't really interact with customers hardly ever at this point. And the amount of people that were like hollering at me, I was throwing footballs out the truck window, these little footballs. and they're like, "Hey, I helped pay for those. Thanks for the great roof." Blah blah. Like I bet you I heard 10 really really good comments. Which in a little parade, I thought that was incredible. So I got to realize again that that is my favorite part of owning a business in general, is just taking care of people, and giving them something that they're willing to pay a lot of money for, and it being a great thing. So that's what I love about it. What I hate about it is the customers that are on the other side of that fence, because there are people in this world, and we only get a couple a year, but man, you never forget those couple. And what I would tell people is, we're all human. We all make mistakes, and just be reasonable human beings, because perfection is not non-existent. Nobody's perfect. eh, those people can really ruin, a good thing. So yeah, customers are the best part, and customers are the worst part for me.
What interesting. What about you guys? Carney, John, your peach in your pit.
I've never heard the peach in the pit.
Me neither.
Thing.
I thought she said pitch.
We could do that next if you want.
Man, oh man, what kind of chat is this? This thing's getting crazy now.
You'd rather be working on your SOPs. I get it.
Yeah. I mean, I got that 10% left to do. So, no, I mean, I not to sound the same as what Scott does, but man, like it's the people that, approach you after the fact, year, 2, 3 years after you actually replace the roof, and they still recommend you. They still like are super happy with you. They still love like everything you did for them. Just seeing that stuff, and then like being able to like get involved in the community and being a part of, everything going on in your backyard. Like we did 2 roof giveaways last year, and they weren't to veterans, not because like I'm opposed to giving a roof to a veteran and stuff. I absolutely would, but I mean, one of the roofs that we did a giveaway for was a mom with 13 kids. 11 of those were adopted. 10 of them were special needs. Like that's a lot of kids under one roof, and it wasn't a small roof either. Are we going to see anything back for that? No, but like it feels freaking awesome to be able to be like, yo, I impacted that family's life, and their life is now better because of, everybody that's poured into my business. I'm able to pour into somebody else. And like that is like so freaking powerful. Even like having our name listed on the back of like baseball jerseys and stuff, just like the community part, being involved in that, being known in our community. Like we have so much fun with some of our vehicle wraps and stuff. Like our Cybertruck is like a huge hit. I sent you a reel earlier from a new van wrap that we're doing. Like it has Florida Man written all over it, and it is super awesome. Can't wait for that thing to come. But just that's my peach in my pit, if I'm using that correctly.
Did it? You did great.
Amazing.
Yeah, I love that. Anybody?
Yeah, for me, it's pretty similar to what these gentlemen are talking about, but it's the impact, and whether it's customers or whatever it is. But for me, the most satisfying thing is seeing the individuals around us, our team members, and like we really, I believe as business owners, we really discredit the amount of people's lives that we impact in a very positive way, because it's not just the 5, 10, 15, 20, 50 employees that you have. It's all your distributing partners. It's all your manufacturers. It's all the crew members. And I mean, gosh, when you're doing 1,000 installs a year or more, the amount of mouths that you're feeding is incredible, because the spider web is really, really big when you start to think about it. It's not just the people that you pay. It's not just your W-2 employees. It's the subcontractors, it's distribution, it's manufacturers, it's the truck drivers at these places. So we have a massive responsibility to the whole community to help to create a great business that fuels the environment and fuels the fuels the economy. So for me, that's one of the most satisfying things, is knowing that the impact that we leave is, I mean, I've never done the math on it, but I know it's thousands of people. And every single year we're helping thousands of people to improve their life. And for me, I find a lot of joy in that.
And I know there might not be like a monetary return to some of this, like work that you guys are doing, but I would argue that you're probably getting a lot back in return, at least if you believe in karma and kind of putting things out there. So I love that you guys do that. Another question in. Roofing seems to me to be a business where no news is good news. So sometimes it feels pretty nice to hear some good feedback. Okay, so not a question, but more just a statement. Thank you, Alex. We appreciate that feedback. And if anybody else has any other questions, comments, or concerns, please pop them into that Q&A. We do have about 15 minutes left, so would love to answer any and all questions. We'll kind of move along into the production side of things here. What are the correct steps to properly tear off a roof?
I don't think all three of us need to answer that one.
One can pick, that's fine. Or you guys can pick one.
Scott's the best at it. Let him do it.
All right. So it depends on who you are, because some of my guys are absolute fools and they shingle shovel them straight off the roof onto tarps when they could walk them over the dump trailer. So it drives me absolutely nuts. If I actually had a job a couple weeks ago I went out to, and they were doing that, and I'm just shaking my head. But to me, the best way to do it is rip the shingles off, start at the top, work your way down, and pitch them into the trailer from the roof. That saves a ton of cleanup time. And then start at the top again and denail, pull the felt, and you're rolling. To start at the top and shingle shovel them down, though, and put them onto the ground, it causes so much problems, because you're taking a chance of smashing shrubs, bushes, other things that are valuable to the customer, damage an air conditioner. I mean, as many roofs as we do, we've done it all as far as what we've screwed up along the way. I mean, that's just part of, if you're working, there's a chance of screwing something up. So that is the one way to really increase your chances of having an issue at a house. So yeah, I like to try to get all the heavy stuff carried over to the trailer, pitch straight in, keep the cleanup minimal. To me, the tarp's all there for is little objects that get dropped. That's not for throwing the bulk of the load down onto. So yeah, it's pretty easy. It's my favorite part. I just tore one off like a month ago. It's the first time I've done it probably this year, and I got up and I had a freaking ball. You talk about good mindless work. Tearing roofs off.
Ground drop or roof load, Scott?
We ground drop all of them, but we have
we do too.
Yeah, we got shingle vaders or ladder vaders, whatever you want to call them. So
it drives me nuts when these guys try to stack shingles on a roof and then tear off around it and have to pick it up and move it. I'm like, dude, let's just clean the whole thing, get it all papered in, and then we'll load it.
Yep, absolutely. That's it's the most intimidating way, but it's also at the end of your day the easiest way. So yeah, that's how we do it.
I have a ladder vader for sale if anybody wants to buy it.
You heard the audience. You can get a deal.
Never use it.
Got a couple more questions coming in here. Is it more beneficial for a roofing company to focus on completing jobs with its own in-house crew, or is subcontracting work out the better long-term strategy?
So this is a really good question for this group. I personally subcontract all of our labor. I used to have all in-house employees, and here's the difference for me is profitability. So with subcontract crews, it's piece rate. I know exactly when we bid the job, I can almost tell you to the dollar what we are going to make in profit. I know, because I know what my labor is going to cost me, because I'm paying per piece. And my material, obviously that bill is pretty much standard for, however you bid it. when you have in-house labor, there's so many factors that go in. You know, you got to fuel the truck, you got to if you got breakdowns on the truck or the trailer, you got to fix that. You got obviously employees who maybe one day, and I've had this, one day we do a roof and 6 guys go knock out 30 square off and on, no problem. And the next week it's the same damn house pretty much, and it takes them 2 full days to do. Well, guess what? You didn't make any money on the one that took you 2 full days. You just didn't. So yeah, I like it for that. I don't think there's a long-term, short-term advantage or disadvantage. I do believe the best businesses, in my opinion, are in-house labor businesses if they have great training staff and a way to motivate the employees. I couldn't figure it out to the extent I wanted to, and so I made that transition.
Yeah, we're nearly 100% in-house over here. Now, I say nearly 100% because we do use a subcontract crew for our Worth House installs and things. None of my in-house guys are trained on that specifically. Could I do that? Sure. But I'd rather keep them on our bread and butter and kind of just keep knocking out like metal and tile and shingle roofs and give those guys all the Worth House stuff that comes through. But that being said, we have been using them for quite a long time. That's all that they do. That's what they specialize in. They're going to do it better than any of my guys would be able to. So I just keep it at that. But the benefit to like in-house labor for me is I'm invested in them just as much as they are with me. I want to keep them busy. I want to keep, jobs scheduled for them. My success is all dependent upon their success. And like, if I can continue giving them work and providing them, a good, healthy means of making a living, they're not going to go looking around for another company to go, do roofing for. But on top of that, I mean, as far as expectations and quality installs and things, I don't think that you're going to have anywhere near the amount of control with a sub crew as what you're going to with an in-house crew. I don't think I would have a very easy time getting a sub crew to put up a catch-all. I don't think I would have an easy time having a sub crew put up toe boards. I don't think I would have an easy time getting a sub crew to wear my shirts. And that's I think it's actually even against the law to even do that, but beyond that, I want our job sites to look the same no matter what crew is there. I want the outcome of every single one of our jobs to, result in being done the exact same way, no matter what crew is on that. And I just think in-house labor is the way to go down here in Florida.
We did have another question pop in. What steps should a roofing company take to stop depending on subcontracting work and instead generate its own jobs while building and managing a fully in-house roofing crew?
I am the complete opposite of John, but what I will tell you through having multiple locations scattered throughout the United States, Florida is the only state that I am aware of that oftentimes makes sense to have in-house crews. So I would say, John, you are the exception of the rule. Because I've noticed that there's a lot of very large organizations in the state of Florida that do a lot of in-house crews. To me, I hate it. I could never do what I do with in-house crews. There's no shot. We just got awarded a 3,600 square steep slope project, and if I had an in-house crew and that was all that I did was in-house labor, well, that's going to take 2.5, 3 months to build. Well, I have 8 or 9 sales guys that still have to continue to produce, and I want to make more money in that time. So I don't want my crew to be tied up, and the scale with subcontractors, if you can find good ones, is almost infinite. As long as you can sell the work and you can manage it, you can build as many systems in a year as you possibly can. Versus an in-house crew, you got to methodically continue to build the team, and then I would imagine, John, you take guys that are good and advanced, and then you promote them to some type of lead where they're then starting to develop and manage their own crew. So, and that stuff takes time. It takes time to promote and grow within. So for me, I can't answer that question. John's probably the only one that can answer that question because we're almost 100%. We are 100% subcontractor based. The only thing that we don't do with subcontractors is light punch out work.
Do you have anything different there, John, or your co-sign?
What steps should a roofing company take to stop depending on subcontracting work? I mean, again, I said what I said because it is the absolute truth. Like, I'm just as invested in those guys' success as they are in ours. You know, I don't want to have to call them for like a punch out or, you know, a leak developing and things. Is it going to happen from time to time? Absolutely. But I mean, relinquishing control of the most important part of your company, you know, the labor, that just doesn't seem like a good idea. I mean, the quality that you get from subcrew to subcrew is going to be mixed. And you know, the more that you're invested into providing them a good means of living and a good life and things, you kind of like really fall in love with that. And like, I guess that kind of goes back to the peach and pit question you had, right? But I love the fact that we have 50 employees that are on payroll that, you know, rely on us to provide them a means to an end, you know? And like, that is, aside from the community aspect of things, like, that is rewarding on itself. So I don't know if I'm really answering Brandon's question or not, but I don't depend on subcontracting work. And, you know, every job that we produce, you know, is produced from, you know, the fruits of our labors and things, you know, and it's the only way that I want to really do it.
I think that's fair.
I think there's a level of predictability with John's environment as well. Like, he can work 12 months out of the year. Me and Scott see snow, and if I have in-house crews and 2 months there's snow-covered roofs, like, am I still paying these guys? Or what do I lay them off? Like, what happens during that time? So, and once again, I think Florida is an exception in our industry where there's a lot more predictability in the seasonality that a lot of us fight in the Northeast or in colder climates. That would really be hard to control when you have a ton of in-house labor that could be sitting around for weeks or sometimes potentially months on end.
I'll give one answer to like direct answer to that question. So if it were me, I'll tell you what I would do if it were me. And the first steps I would take, I would learn to speak Spanish, because any white guy that I have hired that wants to roof, like actually roof every day, is a crackhead. So the first thing you should do is learn to speak Spanish, because your other option's way worse.
Yeah, I can agree with that, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost 100% fact. The next thing you're going to have to do is find someone that's good. So start with a repair guy. Hire someone to take on your repairs, because if they are good at repairs, they can absolutely run a roofing crew. Obviously, there's a couple other little factors, but they're skilled enough to run a roofing crew if they're good at repairs. Repairs are way more difficult than installs. So start with finding yourself start with learning the language, then find a Latino fella that is really efficient with repairs, and then start getting him to call his buddies to come work for you.
There it is. There it is. We did have another question come through here. How important do you believe it is for a roofing company to invest in labor reducing equipment? such as shingle loaders, elevated dumpsters, and material handling systems to improve efficiency and reduce worker fatigue.
It's got to be. I mean, that's not negotiable. And again, to just go back to what John said the last couple of times here is, I give a shit about my subs, my W2. It doesn't matter to me. Like these are all people that are part of my team. I take care of them exactly the same. Honestly, my subs make more money than my in-house labor crews did. So, it costs me, and I have done the math many times, it costs me on average more to use subcontractors than it does W2 employees, but the predictability is 100% different. I can guarantee what I'm going to get out of the subcrews, and for us, even the quality, because we utilize the same crews over and over and over again, and then we'll bring new ones in when we need more work, and we test them, and then we put them on a job site. But yeah, if I think I've bought 3 ladder-vators this year. You know, if one of theirs breaks and they're in a bind, we just go pick it up. Like, you know, it not a problem. I own multiple dump trailers myself. If their dump trailer's down, come grab mine. Like there's, you know, like I say, it's not negotiable. We give them anything we can give them to help them make their lives easier.
Anybody else got anything different over there?
So here in Florida, a lot of the homes that we work on, that a lot of other areas of the country you can kind of use, you know, like the equipters and things like that. Like our houses down here are so right up against one another. So the ability for us to really use a lot of those pieces of equipment are kind of hit or miss. Now there are some properties that we go to where, you know, we could use equipment like that, but you know, end of the day, I love the idea of all that. But I'll tell you one big thing that hasn't really taken off for us, and it's not to bash the company or anything like that at all. I know that they can work well for some, but we have not had any kind of luck with like really getting buy-in to our crews using catch-alls. They just absolutely hate setting them up. They absolutely, you know, hate bagging them back up. They're really, really big and bulky and hard, and they take up a lot of freaking room in your trailer. So that's why we kind of opted to instead go for the alternate like tow board system that we're kind of using now to keep job sites clean. But I'm envious of, you know, areas of the country where you can actually use equipment like equipters and things a lot more often than what you can in a lot of the neighborhoods that we work at out here. So
Makes sense. Well, gentlemen, I don't see anything else in our Q&A box. So if that is the case, I'm okay with ending it here. But thank you guys for playing Peach and Pit with me. That was so fun. Same time next week. But thank you guys for always joining. We really appreciate your participation on the panel. For our audience members, we'll be right back at it next Monday at 4:30 for the 61st episode of the Roofer to Roofer Show. Thank you guys so much. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving and see you soon. Bye.
Have a great week, guys.
See ya.